The Trailer Talks is sponsored by Imaging DNA. Ideas, images, insight. The core of the conversation is the image at imagingdna.com. Ever wonder what it takes to live a life creatively? So do we. That's why we're here, to find out what clever people do to succeed in the arts. I'm Cecily Korst, and this is the Trailer Talks. We're interviewing artists and educators, musicians and actors, at home and on the road. So come along. It's going to be fun. Hey, welcome to the trailer. Come on in. Today, we're on Skype from Chapeler Media Studios with Michael Grandinetti. He's a magician from Pittsburgh, now living in Los Angeles. Let's hear his story. Michael.
Cecily, am I saying your name right?
Yes, perfect. Oh my gosh, you win the prize for the day.
Hey, I have a name like Grandinetti, so I'm very used to saying, and getting used to names here, so.
I love it.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. It's good to talk to you. I'm sorry we can't be in person.
I am too, because that would have been really, really fun. But that's all right. We've got Skype. Skype will work.
Skype is the next best thing.
So, tell me about your journey thus far, because it sounds really interesting.
It's been amazing. I'm one of those truly lucky people who get to do what they wanted to do since they were a kid. So how many people get to say that? I don't take it for granted. I really enjoy every minute of my career and what I'm able to do. I started young. I started magic when I was 5. My first professional show was when I was 12. So it's been a few years since then. But my goal growing up, and even to this day, was always to go a step beyond what people my age or in my current condition or location were doing. So it's always been about constantly challenging myself, and it's been an amazing ride. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Did you graduate from high school and go to college and have a different career, or did you just go straight through and do magic the entire time?
I knew what I wanted. I knew that I wanted to make magic my career all throughout high school, all throughout college. So the question becomes, what do you do when you graduate high school and you go? I knew I wanted to go to college. So what steps do you take to really make it? Because there's no magic degree in college.
But there should be.
I wish. But so I studied marketing in college because I figured it's show business. So you have to have the business side. So I wanted a really solid business background. But once I got out of college, about 4 or 5 months later, I moved to Los Angeles. I just knew it was the next step.
So what are those locations where you, where are those key locations where you move when you want to get into this career?
People would probably guess Las Vegas first if you're thinking of magic. But for me, what I really wanted to do is I wanted to expand my magic into television. And for television, LA is really the place where you want to be. Not only because that's where you're going to present yourself, you're going to pitch yourself, you're going to try and move forward in that direction, but also just being in the environment of this city where television is pretty much the main industry, you're going to learn a lot. And my first several years out here felt like an extension of college. I had a chance to meet so many people and ask so many questions and see things behind the scenes and just absorb it. And so that was a huge help. So for me, that's why I came to LA. I think if you want to do theater, New York is the way to go. I think television, you have to come to LA. And Las Vegas definitely is a goal. But I think that for me, the series of steps would be television and then Las Vegas.
What's the hardest part of your work?
Magic is detail. So when you're doing a magic show, it is not just about going and performing. You just don't step out in front of an audience and perform an illusion. You have to, first of all, have all the little intricacies of that piece of magic prepared, ready to go. You have to have backup plans. Because in show business, as in anything, You never know exactly what could happen or what might be different from what you're expecting. But you also have to understand psychology. You have to understand all the theatrical elements, staging, lighting, movement, choreography. You have to understand entertainment. The challenging part of being a magician is to master all of those details so that when you're in front of the audience, it looks effortless and they're not thinking of any of those details. It looks like, like it's just second nature. So we work hard at that. But again, I love it. So it's not, it's a labor of love for me.
Do you remember your first serious performance?
The first time I was up in front of an audience, I was 5 years old. It was for show and tell for kindergarten, and I remember it, like it was yesterday. I had gotten a magic set for Christmas that year, and I couldn't even read the instructions. So my older cousin had to come over and kind of read the instructions to me, and I figured out these pieces of magic. And so I took this in for show and tell, and I remember a girl got up before me with the exact same magic set, and she started to do it. And I remember thinking, this is it. I'm ruined. This is, you know. And for some reason, though, I got up and it somehow, again, I can't tell you why, but it worked. The kids smiled. I remember the teachers in the back smiled. They were all sitting on this blue carpet, and it just kind of worked. And I thought, this is great. And for a shy kid, I was a pretty shy kid to get that kind of response and to be able to get up in front of people. I think that hooks you. I think at that point there was nothing else that I really was going to do with my life.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that because I can't remember my first show and tell. I have no idea.
I'm very lucky that I remember mine. It's again, we'll kind of file that away in things that I'm very lucky to have. The memory's great.
That is so cool. What was last year's pinch me moment for you?
Last year, I would say the biggest moment of last year was when we performed the halftime show for the Carolina Panthers game in Bank of America Stadium. My goal has always been to take magic into these unique places where it hasn't gone, where you don't expect to see it. So when you go to a stadium and you're surrounded by 70,000 people, and they're not only looking from 360 degrees, but they're looking down at you. So as a magician, you have a lot of challenges there. And again, it goes back to making it look effortless, making it look magical, making it look, absolutely perfect. And so we worked very hard, but it was an amazing experience. It was to be on that field, and we had done stadium shows before, but it never loses its thrill when you walk out there and do that. And we did that right on the 50-yard line. I made people appear and disappear, and then for the end of the show, I levitated 10 feet above the 50-yard line. And it was, I'll tell you this much, it was a view that not many people get, and that it makes me smile big right now just thinking about it.
Cool. What's your favorite illusion?
I have several. That one where I levitate in the air is one of my favorites. That's something that I really always wanted to be able to do. There's another piece in the show that I like very much, and it's a piece where I walk through a 7-foot-tall steel wall. It's an original illusion. It took me 5 years to design it. And what happens is we have a 7-foot-tall plate of steel. It's 7 foot tall, 4 feet wide. It's 1 inch thick, and it weighs over 200 pounds. And we have to have the special cart to wheel it on stage because it's so heavy. And we get people up from the audience. They examine it. They rub their hands over it. They see that it's completely, normal and natural. And then we put it up on a platform so you can see underneath it and around it. And I literally melt my body right through the center of that piece of steel. So I really enjoy doing that one.
Wow. Yeah, you just move all your atoms from one side to the other. What do you think resonates most with your audience?
Well, I think with the audience, I think magic lets people escape. I think, life is stressful. I think there are so many things going on every day around us, especially now. There's information coming at everybody from every point, every direction. I think when you sit, and you watch a magic show, it's fantasy. And you could sit there and it's kind of like watching a movie, but even more personal because it's live. It's not on a screen where it's just flattened, it's just a flattened image. And, when they see magic, it's really there happening, really there in front of them. And it lets them kind of let go and forget about everything and be in that kind of uplifting fantasy world. And people need that. I can't tell you how many times in any show that's able to do that allows the audience to experience that and just let go. You watch people leave that show. And again, not just what we do, but in any show like that, and you will see people smiling and happy, and they look totally different from when they came in after a long day of work. And I think that's one of the big benefits of live entertainment, and one of the important jobs that we as entertainers have.
Do you think there's a type of person that becomes a magician?
I've never thought about that. Yes, I do. I think different types of people become different things. I think magicians tend to be kind of inquisitive. You kind of want to, and I think that's if we dug deep, we could really look at magic as a metaphor for kind of looking at what more is out there that we don't know in the world. I think magicians tend to be people who are, interestingly enough, shy and quiet when they're away from the stage, and I think that can be said for a lot of entertainers overall. I think magicians tend to be those people who kind of have a little bit of that kid in them. I still feel like that 5-year-old who got the magic set for Christmas. I've grown up a lot since then, but I think there's that element too. So I think those are some commonalities that in the magicians that I've met, and certainly in myself, that we all seem to share.
What's your advice for somebody who wants to break into this business?
I would say you could break into this business at any point in time. Even though I was young and had that opportunity to start as a kid, I think if this is something you want to do, go for it. I think magic is an incredibly fun, incredibly engaging, art form. I think that the first thing to do is you want to study the art of magic, and I would do that by reading. I would do that by getting as many books on magic as you can. With technology today, there's DVDs, there's downloadable things, but then you're watching somebody and you're kind of emulating somebody else do something. I think if you get a book, which is how, back when I was a kid, there was no internet, so you learn from books. But what it lets you do is it lets you formulate it in your mind how you want to do it. And I think that's very important for any entertainer to be successful, is an audience knows when you're being sincere. So whatever you do, do it as you. And then the next thing you want to do is study theater. Study stagecraft, study lighting, study movement, study dance, study speech giving, presentation. And then the next thing, get out in front of an audience as much as you possibly can. And just keep it. But, with magic specifically, I should say too, practice a lot in front of a mirror. Practice a lot and make sure that when you go out there, you're not even thinking about what you have to do. Focus on, if you know what you're doing ahead of time and you feel comfortable, you can go out and focus on that entertainment. And then if you do those things, I think, that'll give you a really solid foundation to build from.
So what's the one thing that you think everyone should know about living a life creatively?
I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's not a 9-to-5 job. I do what I do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When we're not on the road, we're rehearsing, we're developing new projects. We are constantly, in forward movement. And so I would say, you have to love it. You have to love every minute of it. And if you do, it is the most fun, rewarding career and lifestyle that, for me, that there could possibly be. Everybody has that one thing that they love to do. And I would urge everybody to find that, whether it's creative or not. Find that. It's very important, and you'll be so much happier that you did.
Where can people find you?
We're traveling all over the country all the time. I would say keep an eye out. We just taped 6 episodes of a CW series called Masters of Illusion, which is going to air nationally. It's currently scheduled to start airing in the fall. So, by all means, please do check out the show, and you'll see a lot of the big illusions that we do, as well as some of the smaller pieces. We had a great time with the show, so that'll be hopefully a lot of fun for everybody to see. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And like I said, we are on the road constantly. So I would urge people to, by all means, connect with us on Facebook, send us a note at our website, and we have a mailing list, and we keep everybody updated on where we're going. So, hopefully we can see everybody out there soon.
Excellent. Check out those sites and join us next time when the trailer talks. I'm Cecily Korst. Thanks for joining the road trip.
I just want to say thank you. It's amazing how fast, this interview has gone. You've been wonderful to talk to, and It feels like we've been talking for about 30 seconds.
I know. I'm like, what's the timer say? 35 minutes. Okay.
Oh, but thank you very much. This has been fantastic. And if anybody has any questions or, about magic or following your career in whatever your chosen path is, by all means, reach out, and I'm always happy to talk to people and answer any questions that you have.
I love it. All right. Hey, thanks very much for coming on the Trailer Talks.
Thank you so much. It's great being with you.
All right. Have a good day.
Take care.
Bye. How cool was that? Oh my gosh. Magician. I don't get those very often.